The following story may not be appropriate for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Whisperwood Stories. I hope you're having a great spooky season. Today we're going to continue the story that I wrote for you for just that occasion. Let's begin. Express Static, Part 4. We stayed quiet, waiting for the horde to pass. I can't say how long we were there. All of the digital clock screens had been smashed. I decided to sleep for a while when it became clear it would take some time, or at least try to sleep. I don't know if Carl did. I was too annoyed with him to care. I did manage to fall asleep, but there were strange dreams waiting for me. Not at all the same as my nightmares back home. Opposite, if anything. I dreamed of memories, of the things my husband and I did together when we had just started dating. I dreamed of our wedding, our honeymoon. These sweet rememberings were almost more painful than the nightmares. Elaine. The voice was distant and playful. A static burst like changing channels, and there was a different voice.
A key engineer went missing directly after the mysterious development. The whole project is very hush-hush. It seems to be some sort of program. Police did not respond to inquiry.
Elaine, are you listening? I shot upright with a gasp, startled out of rest by something that was already fading. I rubbed the back of my head. That's what I got for lying in a restaurant booth. I glanced around the sandwich shop until I saw Carl. He was watching me with a suspicious expression from the bar. Are those things gone? I mumbled. Yeah, been gone for a while. I raised an eyebrow. And you didn't just pack up and leave me here to die. We have something to discuss first. What? Instead of answering verbally, he held up an object. I couldn't tell what it was through my post-sleep haze. Some kind of metal disc? Then I recognized it. I grabbed my purse and looked inside frantically, but sure enough, it was gone. Hey, that's mine! Where did you get this? Carl demanded. I hesitated. It was given to me by someone before, that's all. And do you know what it is? No. What? It's the one thing that could actually get us the hell out of here, is what? Carl said. So why in the hell do you have it? Really? It can get us out of here? I said with a small glow of hope. Carl gave me a look. Okay. I was parking at work one day, only the other day actually, and when I got out of my car, I walked to the elevator but stopped when I heard, "The static is coming. The sickness will infect us all." The realization of what that could mean knotted me up with worry. Heard what? Carl prompted. I heard someone say something about a static infection, and when I went over to her, I saw it was a homeless woman I knew. I've seen her around several times. Bought her a sandwich before, maybe even at this shop, I don't remember. Her name's Miss Allybrow. Carl flinched. Allybrow? Yeah, why? He mumbled inaudibly in reply, then stepped towards the back room. I huffed in frustration. I had to say that I was tired of this guy. He was definitely a pain in my ass. Carl soon returned with a second bag slung over his shoulder. He grabbed a few more things from behind the bar and put them into it. What are you doing? I said. Carl looked up at me. I'm packing. Don't you want to get out of here? Well, yeah, but how? He looked at me like I was daft. This thing will do it. I already told you. No, you didn't, I snapped. Is it so impossible for you to just, I don't know, not? Carl put the backpack down onto the bar. The device he stole clacked as he waved it at me. You ask a lot of damn questions. But fine. Do you know what a USB is? Like for a computer? I said. Congrats. Yes, for a computer. Like I said, EE is the queen bee. It doesn't have its own body though, so it has to bounce to screens or turn someone into one of those creatures. If we can get this device to EE's mainframe and plug it in, we can end it. That has a better chance of getting us home than anything. So, it's like a USB with a virus on it. He feigned surprise. Wow, so you do have something rattling around up there. I sneered at him, then glanced out of the window. There was only one place I could think of we'd have to go for such a task, and the answer unsettled me. It's that tower down the street, isn't it? That's the mainframe? Carl's look said it all. I thought you said we should never go there, Carl. Well, I didn't have this before, now did I? So, ready to go yet? You want me to come with you? Carl looked guilty for a moment. He shrugged, and I huffed haughtily. Fine, I said. I gathered up my purse and walked towards him, opening it in his direction. But I'll carry that metal USB whatever. He eyed me. Why? Just, I brought it here, didn't I? I don't want you ditching me when it gets convenient for you. It's very clear that you hate me. But if we're getting out of here, we may as well go together. I'll just follow you anyway. I gestured the purse forward again. He gave me a tired glance, but tossed the device into my purse all the same. Then tossed something else. You'll need this. I scrambled to catch it. A handle with a jutted mechanism. It looked like the same kind of stun rod he had used on the spotlight creature earlier. Stun rod, he continued. Load one of these cartridges in to pair it. Keeps those static creatures down, even if only for a while. Take these also. Couldn't help but notice you ain't shod. He gestured to a pair of boots, then handed over a warmer jacket and some stun cartridges. Use this backpack, he added. I placed my purse, blazer, the stun rod, and its cartridges inside the backpack. Carl looked at me oddly. What? You're taking that stuff? The blazer and purse? They're the last things I have from home. That's all, I said, feeling slightly embarrassed. He shrugged. As I gathered the items, Carl walked over to the front door and unchained it. The cold air from outside blew in. It made me put on the jacket at once. Try to keep up, Elaine. We stepped out of the sandwich shop. With boots and the promise of escape, I felt ready to take on the world. Or rather, as ready as I could be to take on a gray, nightmare reality of static monsters. My small hope from earlier was fractured as I stared down the street towards our destination. Towards the tower that seemed to always be in view. Something about that dark building, with the red light blinking hypnotically at the top, was more threatening than any number of those creatures. I could feel its vague pull even now, as if it knew we were coming, and it was daring us to come closer. Hungry. I would have sworn I could hear.
No trace of it has been found. The CEO of Express Electronics made a statement. To me, this reeks of entail. I've got feelers all over, and she's just gone. Wouldn't be surprised if my competition left her ditch somewhere. You hear that? I'm watching you. Her husband did not respond to inquiry.
I could almost see the news feed this must have come from. A dark haze melded in the edges of my vision. If I focused just a little more, I could... A hand on my shoulder pulled me out of the trance. I blinked, like a light had been turned on in pure darkness. Don't lean into that feeling, Carl warned. Don't look at it. It'll only get harder to resist from here. It's the only way out. I nodded and shook myself. Staring away from it and directly at the road was the only thing that made it easier. Still, I could feel its inviting warmth just out of view. All of these abandoned cars, I said, trying to distract myself as we walked. They make the place feel so empty, like there was once this many people here. I glanced at another vinyl sticker nearby, one declaring what else you should do if you tailgated that close. I remember that my mother had a sticker like that once. I wondered at first if I'd see my car here somewhere, but there's just too many. Don't think it'll happen, Carl said. That's another odd part about this place. It has things from home, but they aren't quite right. Like if you dream of a person's face. Carl didn't reply. I thought of another question to keep the quiet at bay. What exactly is in that tower? Can't say for sure. It's been here the whole time for me. Something tells me it's where EE is. How long have you been in this place then? Maybe a couple of weeks. I hesitated. The next question had been on my mind ever since I heard him say it, but something about my forgotten dream spurred me on. Carl, how do you know what EE is? It was only public back home right before I was brought here. It's not a topic I want to discuss, he replied flatly. I frowned. I was honest about myself. Why won't you tell me? He paused in his stride. When he replied, his voice was angry like before. Listen, I'm all for getting out of here together, but once we do, we'll probably never meet again. I watched him walk away, not able to shake some odd feeling stirring in my gut. Warily, I jogged to catch up. It was a long, bleak walk through the winding streets. It was made even more so by the fact that Carl didn't seem interested in answering any more of my questions. Throughout the gray roads, the number of vehicles rose. Some areas were so crowded that we had to climb over them. Some places had pile-ups, even cars that went into nearby buildings. Simply said, there was chaos. Looming most of all was the dark promise of the tower ahead. I could feel that pull growing stronger. I tried to think of just how long we'd been marching, but even that thought was hazy. It had been, from what I could tell, a few hours. It might have been more, considering how drained I felt. Before, there had been many creatures wandering the streets, but now, there wasn't a single sign. That was almost more worrying.
Only Edwards to come.
I looked up. I thought I'd heard something. Another voice of some kind.
Authorities found her vehicle parked in a company garage.
It was coming from the tower, echoing like music on a distant speaker.
All personal effects were missing. There were no keys or bag to speak of. An anonymous source in an interview with Express's CEO confirmed that she is indeed one of their top lawyers. Targeted attack or simple tragedy.
A line? Carl was standing in the road, looking at me. What? Sorry, I drifted off. We should stop for a moment. Get your breath, he said. I nodded in agreement. We surveyed the city around us, making certain we didn't look towards the tower. The buildings were strange here, bent back at dangerous angles, made of impossible shapes. It was like the tower had its own gravity well, pulling everything in around it. Let's try that one, Carl said. I followed him to a building on our left. A digital welcome bell rang out as an automatic door opened for us. Only a few fluorescent lights let us see. A wide, impossibly large area stood before us. Scattered tables and chairs made up seating areas in the center, with several business stalls at the edges. It was all in disarray. Furniture knocked over, restaurant signs falling from their mounts. I thought I saw someone sitting at one of the chairs. The darkness was inky there, almost alive. Miss Jensen has someone important she wants you to meet. I know this place, I muttered. We shouldn't be here, Carl said nervously. Let's find somewhere else to bunker. Despite how drawn I felt to enter, we left. We kept going, block after block, in search of somewhere safe. That was just it, though. There was nowhere safe. It didn't take much longer before I was feeling an even heavier burden. I could tell that we were getting close. Both tiredness and the tower's strange pressure weighed me down like forcing hands. I could clearly see that Carl was in the same boat. How much farther? I managed. Not too long. There's gotta be somewhere we can rest. Come on, dig deep. I've already dug to the other side of the planet, I said between breaths. Didn't I tell you I was a lawyer before all this? I stopped walking, leaning on a car for support. With the angle of the vehicle, the rearview mirror was pointing towards the tower. When I saw what was in the roads ahead, I froze. Carl? He looked back at me from the right side. He was glancing into a building. What? I pointed forward. There was a mass of static creatures. They were silent despite their number. Spotlights turned their heads on as if the game was up, forcing me to duck behind vehicles to avoid their burning glare. The irrevocable pressure pushed harder yet. The tower, the lights, more and more it piled on. Carl, to my horror, I saw that Carl was just standing there on the sidewalk, staring forward at the tower. I rushed over to him while remaining crouched. I tugged him down to the cover of a car, but he kept standing up. Come on, we gotta get moving, I said. The dreaded, familiar sound of laughter echoed from down the street. You're a stubborn one, Elaine. I'll give you that, but you can't escape. I don't care if you got that little software engineer with you. You're never leaving this place. There was a building straight ahead of us. It was just a dash across the sidewalk, and we'd be there. I would have to drag Carl with me, but there could be something inside to help us. Uh-oh, did I say too much? Hasn't Carl told you just who he is yet? On the count of 3, I ran, pulling Carl along with me. That number of spotlights on me burned hot. I grit my teeth as screeching pain hissed across me like a vampire in sunlight. Carl was still unresponsive, but he walked automatically as I pulled him. We stumbled into the building Carl had been checking. Thankfully, I didn't recognize it. The place was some kind of fast food restaurant. There's gotta be something to help us in here, I said. Is that all you've got? Really? It was Fred again. his face taking up one of the menu screens hanging above the counter. "Do you think I should order a number 3 combo?" I threw a napkin dispenser. The screen shattered and went dark, sparking. Fred's face shifted to the second menu screen. "Nice try. I always know where you are. There is no escape. How many times do I have to tell you?" "Why can't you just leave me alone?" I demanded. Fred pouted his lips sadly. "Elaine, I just want to play. Why don't you go see what fun toys I've gathered for us?" I looked outside. There were too many of those things to count, spotlights and static both, but that's not where my eyes landed. There was something else in the middle of them all, taller than any of us, a strange, anthropomorphic apparition made purely of static cloud. 20 feet tall, with different screens attached to its body like prosthetic limbs. All of them had the face of Fred. His laughter echoed throughout the streets. "You deserve it all. You deserve it all. You deserve it all. You deserve it over and over." One of the buildings flickered on. Another screen, something like Times Square. "No matter where you run, I'll find you. No matter where you hide, I'll see. I'm afraid, my dear. You just can't get rid of me." I pulled Carl outside. We were back on the road now as I searched desperately for any escape. None of the buildings were safe. None of the roads. The ways we had come from seemed to have creatures now. I didn't know what to do but hide behind the abandoned cars. I looked down and saw a manhole cover at my feet. I knelt immediately, fingers curled into the reliefs as I pulled. I couldn't move it by myself. It had to be 100 pounds. "Carl!" I shouted, but he said nothing. I ran up to his face and pulled him away from the tower. "Listen to me," I said, trying to think of what words could reach him. I thought of everything I had heard him say. "I don't care if you got that little software engineer with you," Fred had told me. "Engineer?" I mumbled. I pulled the device out of my backpack. Did he make this? "We have to get your device to the mainframe, remember?" He stared at it, blinking. "My device?" Carl's eyes cleared. He looked down the street. "Shite! Come on, help me with this," I said, pulling him to the manhole cover. We both strained at the damned heavy thing. Slowly, our grip pulled the metal disc along. "Just a little more," I strained. I glanced up. The creatures were marching quickly towards us. The footfalls of the big one shook the ground. With one last effort, we pulled the cover free. We both fell over from the release and pressure. The large creature was kicking the abandoned cars away like toys. "You're no fun. Come back and play." I climbed into the manhole and down its ladder. Carl followed behind. Fred's voice became muffled as we went deeper underground. Carl pulled out a flashlight from his backpack. Before us were a wide array of concrete sewer tunnels, rounded ceilings above. There were sidewalks that kept us out of the water. We ran deeper into the dark. "Come on! The tower must be this way," Carl said. We ran deeper into the dark. I glanced at him. I would need to ask him who he really was. Pebbles spilled from the ceiling. There were several thuds above us. It must have been with each step of that monstrosity. The booming grew painfully loud, the water rippling. Both of us fell over as the monster stomped heavily. Again, then again. "Is that thing trying to cave us in?" I said. Carl glanced back. "Shite, those things are climbing down. We have to hurry." We ran harder as the ceiling continued to shake. I thought that I could hear Fred's muffled laughter from up there. We were forced to stop at a fork in the path, left and right. The shaking was worse here, violent. "Which way?" I called over it. Carl hopped down into the water and crossed to the opposite sidewalk. I was about to follow when he called out, "Hold on! I'm just gonna shine the light down this way and see where it..." A large boom shook heavy chunks from above. They splashed into the water like meteorites into the ocean. Another. It was trying to stomp us in. "Carl!" The road above us caved in. Huge chunks fell, sending water up in great arcs. One of the waves struck me. I held my arms up in defense, but was thrown back. I think I screamed, but nothing could be heard over the heavy crashing of the world. A car fell in, a streetlight. Then, like a plug in a barrel, a slab of road locked the other pieces in place. The collapse finally stopped. Back against the wall now, coughing as dust filled the air, I looked around as soon as I could manage some semblance of awareness. The rubble had fallen in the center of the fork, cutting me off from both the right side and where we'd come from. So much had fallen that I couldn't see the sky. That was lucky at least. Otherwise, those creatures would be pouring in. "Carl!" I called. It was silent for a long moment. A light peeked through a small hole in the rubble, a gap just large enough to see to the opposite side. "Elaine, you alive?" "Busted up, but yeah, you?" "I'm alright. I don't know these tunnels, but they should meet back up if we go far enough ahead. We'll have to be on our own until then. Look for a service map or something. Use the flashlight I gave you to get around." I shuffled around in the backpack, then shuffled again. "Carl, you didn't give me a flashlight." "What? I definitely did," he said uncertainly. "Didn't I?" "You definitely didn't, because it's not in here." "Just stay there until I can circle around. I've got to go. Good luck and don't die because you have the injector with you." "Thanks for your great concern," I said through a cough. Carl's light turned away, and soon I was left in utter darkness. Thank you for listening to Whisperwood Stories. If you enjoyed, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. Do you have a story that you'd like me to read here? Consider commenting or sending it to whisperwoodsubmissions@gmail.com. The story in this video was read with the author's permission. Me. Be sure to tune in to the finale next week. Or on Patreon, if you're brave. Thank you again for listening, and be sure to check out the links below, where you can also read the story. Want to support me? Check out the links below where you can leave a tip if you wish. And remember, don't let the shadows get too close. Good night, mate.